Hi, I'm Sandi Genovese, and today we are making this really fun cube calendar. Now, I know you probably have smart devices. I do too, and I keep track of my schedule and all kinds of events in other places. But it's really handy to have someplace sitting in your house, some nice display like this, that you just can glance up and see what the day and the month is. Well, you probably know the month, although sometimes when it gets to the beginning of the month, I don't always know. But it's a little bit like just glancing at a clock to see what time it is. You just glance up and remind yourself of what the date is. It's handy. This one I've created in sort of a pyramid. I'm going to go back, and on this yellow cube, I am going to place photos, so that if it's somebody's birthday that month, maybe I'll position it with their photo. So I'm going to add, that's why I have the yellow one sitting in there. But if you don't want that to happen, instead of creating a pyramid pattern, there's all kinds of other things you can do. You can remove this one. You can say February the 16th, Tuesday, and then have something like this. You can have something like this. All kinds of choices. And when you turn this around, there's a couple of options. You can see that because a cube has 6 sides and there are 7 days of the week, the Saturday, Sunday, I did in this way, so that if it's Saturday, I would place it this way, and if it's Sunday, I would place it this way, so that the correct day of the week reads correctly. Now you can do the same thing with the months if you want. I opted to just create a second cube where I have all the months on there, but if you don't want to do that, you can do this Saturday, Sunday technique with each of the months, because there are 12 months and 6 sides. It works out perfectly. All of the days are created in such a way that you're going to be able to do everything from the 1st to the 31st of any month. And I'm going to give you a pattern for the cube that I used, and on there I will list, and I'll also tell you, in fact, let me just tell you right now, when you're decorating the cubes, one of the cubes is going to have the number 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that will give you the 6 faces of a cube. The other one is going to have 0, 1, 2, and then you're going to have 6, 7, 8. And that 6 needs to be the style of 6 that can also be turned into a 9. So it's a 6 or a 9. In my example, I think I had that it was the 16th on a Tuesday in February with what's going to have a photo inside and a stack and a heart on the top. So we are going to look at how to create something like this. Now I'm going to start with a 3-dimensional cube, and laid out flat. You may have a box that you can take apart that you can turn into a cube. If not, you can print the pattern that I'll post. And my pattern, the sides of my cube are just about 2¼ inches, but they can be much littler, they can be bigger. It all depends on the space you have and how big you want it to be. The pattern has all of the score lines, so you're going to fold, and they just need, all the folds need to be the same direction, either all mountains or all valleys. So I'm going to go ahead and fold every place on this cube. Mine are cut out of cardstock. You can use construction paper, cardstock, whatever, scrapbook paper, whatever you have handy. Once you have all the folds, then go ahead, take the adhesive, and there's only one tab here on what would be, if I lay it out, what would be the side. So I'm going to put my adhesive on this side tab, and then when I fold this, I don't know how easy this is to see with black, and fold this right over the top. All I have to do is press to engage that adhesive in order to create the cube. Now you can leave it flat while you decorate it, but I'm going to go ahead. It's sturdy enough that I can go ahead. I'm going to fold up the bottom. I can go ahead and decorate it when it's dimensional already as well. So that's how you're going to create the cube. Now, in order to create the numbers, what I did was I used 2 sizes of square punches, but I did squares because if you don't have the punches, it's also easy to cut squares on your trimmer. So mine is 1 1/8 and 1 3/8, but the size square is going to be relative to the size cube that you pick. So I'll just pick I'm going to use orange for the background if it's big enough. Otherwise, I'm going to switch it out. Looks like I can get that. So I'm going to use orange for the larger square. And I will use, let's do something bright. I'll do red for the smaller square. And then I'll go ahead and place the adhesive. Remember, you'll likely need more adhesive than I'm doing. Go ahead and layer this right over the top so that I have an equal band all the way around the edges of orange showing. And then you'll need to pick stickers that work with the sizes of everything that you've used. So I'm going to go ahead and take the number 7. And I chose to use my squares on a diagonal. So I'm going to go ahead and place this guy in there. It's funny, to tell if it's straight, I almost need to look at it right side up. It shouldn't matter, but for some reason it's hard for me upside down to tell when something's straight. You're going to go ahead and make these in the numbers that I gave you, and then go ahead and attach these onto the different surfaces of the cube. And if you want to make a pattern, you can. I just sort of eyeball it so that I will turn this to face you as soon as I can see that I have it on here with a fairly even space all the way around. So by doing it on a diagonal, it's not as easy to tell if they're not exactly straight when you place them back into the pyramid or into a strip. You're going to continue to do this with all the numbers until they're all decorated like you can see here. So I just mix and match different colors in order to create that. Now to create these, all I did was I just found an alphabet size and style that I liked. And when I went into Hobby Lobby, there were tons of choices. Turns out, sitting around at home, I had these old sticker sheets, but they were gold and silver. So all I did was I took a permanent marker and I colored right over the top. Let me show you how easy that is to do. Let me pick, let's say you want this Z to be black. You know, I could have picked a letter that I would actually use, but I can't think of a day of the week that's going to have a Z in it. But it's easy enough to change these into the black. Then, in order to place them on the cube, what I did was, for the month, I took and I created a little, like a guide. And this, I just figured out about where the middle was going to be. And I used this to line up with the bottom of each face of the cube, and it gives me a line that I can then follow when I'm pulling off the stickers and attaching them. And I'm going to use this, if you look at all of these going all the way around, that's what I used for all of these. They all line up. But making this guide once made it really fast to put these guys together. When it came time to doing the days of the week, I did the same thing. Let me stick this down. So it's a little bit fatter because I used only uppercase for the first letter and then lowercase. So it felt like it sat more in the middle when I used a fatter surface. And then I even had a really skinny one that I used for the Saturday and Sunday. But once you make the guide, you'll be surprised at how quickly that goes together. Now for the decorative one, I use decorative scrapbook paper that had a stripe pattern already on it. And if you look at the table, I've kind of mixed them together, but I'll lift this up so you can see. The balloons are from the sticker sheet. The hearts are die cuts that I've just layered a couple colors together. The star is a die cut that I've just added some detail, and the apples are stickers. You can see what I've done here is I've used these to indicate themes that I might want to place to go along with the calendar. So for the month of February, because of Valentine's Day, I placed a heart. The 4th of July, President's Day, Memorial Day, all those patriotic holidays. For back to school is what I've chosen for the apples. Balloons for somebody's birthday. Basically, you can keep going to decorate these 6 faces, and if you have more themes that you want for all 12 of the months, just create a second cube that, once again, because it's easy to take any of these apart, let me just show you. You saw how easy it was to put together. Well, the beauty of it is that the one that you're not using, it's simple to just flatten it up and store it. So you don't need if you want to make a second or even a third, you can make as many of these decorative cubes as you want in order to go along with the themes that you might want to create for your cube calendar. So if I put this little guy back into some sort of order, and I'll try to put it with a date that would make sense. Let's see. I think I looked it up and saw that Tuesday in February was the 16th. So voila, you can see how great that works. You know, the smart devices, they are great for keeping track of schedules and events, but if you want a simple reminder of the day and the date, you might want to consider making a cube calendar.